Now, before we get started, I would really love if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get the latest content from the YouTube channel, The Last Rewind. And don't be shy about leaving your comments at the bottom of the page because you are the sole reason why this channel will be successful. Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Last Rewind. Before we start discussing Derrick Rose having his jersey retired in Chicago Bulls Arena, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you can get more content of The Last Rewind. So, Derrick Rose not too long had a ceremony where he was honored for being a former Chicago Bull. You know, he retired recently. And there's news, it may not be too shocking, that his jersey will be retired. I'm not 100% on board saying he should have his jersey retired. I'm a little mixed on that one. I will say, when I first heard it, I said, I don't think he deserves to have his jersey retired because it's an impossible standard. Because you got Michael Jordan, no one's going to top him, basically, in Chicago, as far as play. Then you got Scottie Pippen. But, you know, I listened to Rob Parker on The Odd Couple. He was against it, and he was saying there was a standard in Chicago to where he doesn't think Derrick Rose needs his jersey retired. But yeah, they also have Bob Love, and they also have Jerry Sloan, who were, you would say, substandard, especially compared to Derrick Rose. And I'm not knocking them as players, but, you know, they were never a Derrick Rose. But I always kind of feel Derrick Rose got his jersey retired based off of potential, what he could have been, what he should have been, if his body didn't fail him after that MVP season. You know, and I know these players I'm about to name were not MVP, they were not the youngest MVP ever, huge accolade, may never be topped. But when I think about what ifs, I think these players would have been better. They might already be better than Derrick Rose in his prime, but that's debatable. Grant Hill. It's debatable. I think Grant Hill would have been a top 3 player in the league and could have been ever. I really have high regard for his career if he never got hurt. Anthony Hardaway. I have a lot of regard for him. I think he could have been possibly a top 5 player of all time. Possible, who knows? Top 10, who knows? I think he would have been probably the best player in the league at one time in his career, but we'll never know, you know? He was very offensively skilled. People were trying to call him the next Magic, but the way he shredded Miami in the first round, where he went back-to-back for 40, who knows? He could have been scoring 30 per game. We never know what's going to happen. Injuries took over his life too. So he's a big what if. You know, and when I think of what ifs like that, you know, it's probably the same way people think about when Aaliyah died. You know, when she died, I think she was 21, 22, something like that. Very young, had a long career probably ahead of her. Girl could dance, girl could entertain, and then her life was tragically cut short. So there's a big what if. And it's the same thing with a lot of these players. And I understand how that feeling can come up on people when they talk about Derrick Rose, especially for people from Chicago, because he meant a lot to that city. For him to be born in Chicago, grew up in Chicago, and to play for the team that he grew up in, that's a big deal. And I think that played a part in a lot of people's decision to put him in there. Yes, he was an all-star, he was the youngest MVP ever. It's just, again, I was on the fence about that. Once I heard a few more arguments about it. Before, I was just like, nah, he doesn't deserve a jersey retired. He didn't do enough. But if you see all the people that had their jersey retired around the league, it's not a lot of pushback. Unless you're talking about the Boston Celtics or the Los Angeles Lakers, their standard is really not that high. And it's kind of hard to play catch-up when one team has 17, 18 championships, and they have all these jerseys retired from several decades ago, and you have none. You're trying to build some sort of history. I know that's not Chicago, but for small market teams, they haven't won anything. Let's just say the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets are like the worst team now, period. I was about to say history wise, but right now they have one of the worst records in the league. Hopefully that will change. But they have 2 jerseys retired in all of Charlotte's history. I think Charlotte came into the league, I think at 90, 88, 89, 90, one of those years. And they have 2 people retired, and they weren't even perennial all-stars in Charlotte. You know what they were? One, God bless the dead, God rest in peace, not saying no ill will towards him. Bobby Fields, who was in a car accident and perished, that he was a big part of Charlotte. I'm sorry, he's a big part of the Charlotte community. His jersey was retired. And Bill Russell. Bill Russell, number 6, he's retired around the league. I get that because that was in honor of Bill Russell and what he brought to the league and the social justice he fought for in his time. It was a big deal. Bobby Fields could have got a plaque, could have got a memorial, something, detailing his accomplishments. But I don't know if jerseys should be retired for that reason, but like I said, I'm willing to bend and hear the argument to why you should put someone there for that reason. But you got Charlotte, you had Larry Johnson, you had Alonzo Mourning, you had Glenn Rice for a very short amount of time. And not much after that. I mean, I would say Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues, although he was never an all-star, that is a person, when I think of Charlotte, Muggsy Bogues first comes to mind. He was Mr. Charlotte at one point until those players I just named came about. And him be able to accomplish what he did at 5'3", man, that's something else we may never see again. Somebody that short being able to do what he was able to do in a league among giants. And, when the NBA had all these 7-foot monsters in the 90s and 80s, and he was able to do what he was able to do, remarkable. I can see his jersey retired simply because he was there during the inception, when Charlotte came around. And that's another attribute I would add to it. Longevity in the city you play for, and, being a big all-star too, someone who, on top of being there for a while, brings a championship to the team. Multiple championships, you're definitely getting in there. Again, check the Celtics again, check the Lakers, go to baseball, check the Yankees, go to football, check Tom Brady. You don't even got to check the Patriots, just check Tom Brady. He's got more championships than any football team in the league. Crazy. But if you played a huge part in that franchise in winning, then yes. Did Derrick Rose play a huge part of winning in Chicago? I would say no. I think he only made it to 1 Eastern Conference Finals. I could be wrong, but I think he only made it to 1. I know he didn't make it no more than 2. Definitely didn't make it to the finals. I think he went to 1, and then he got hurt the next year, and he never recovered. And that was the end of his prime. It was a short prime, but it happened so early. Like I said, 23, he won the MVP. He was so young, it feels like his career was extended much longer than other people's, but it just really happened very quickly. It's like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson won his belt, I think, at 21, and his prime wasn't much longer after that. His real prime, the people who are boxing enthusiasts, what his real prime was, and it wasn't long after he got defeated by Buster Douglas you ever saw the same Mike Tyson again. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't seem like Derrick Rose had that long of a career to have a jersey retired. But again, I just named Bob Love. I just named Jerry Sloan. I just named the people who were in Charlotte, not people who were perennial all-stars in Charlotte. You got the Miami Heat. You got Miami Heat with Michael Jordan's jersey retired, and he never played there. I don't even know if he has a home there or he has a timeshare. I don't know why he has a jersey retired. I know out of respect from Pat Riley, but still seem kind of off. I think Udonis Haslem is going to get one eventually because of how long he played there. Again, that's not part of my attributes. I know I said someone who plays a long time in the city, maybe not necessarily being drafted in, but the city they play for, a long time. He played there for 20 years or something like that. And he did win a championship, but he was not a huge deal with them winning the championship. You know, I have been on the record to say I don't think Kevin Garnett should have his jersey retired or should have had his jersey retired in Boston. Let me make sure. I want to make sure. I don't want to think I'm wrong on that one. He had his jersey retired, right? Kevin Garnett. Yep, had his jersey retired. I know he played a huge deal in Boston, winning that one championship. There's no way I don't think they should have won more than one. But then again, he came late in his career. Who was he mostly a lifer for? The Timberwolves. And because of some beef he has with Minnesota, his jersey isn't retired there yet, I don't think. But Boston, he brought a culture there. I just don't think he was there long enough to have his jersey retired. He wasn't part of the culture long enough, and that's no fault of his own. He just eventually got old, and he got shipped out of there, and then went to Brooklyn. Paul Pierce, yes, he was a lifer for the most part. Toward the end of his career, they broke him up, sent him to Brooklyn too. I think he went to the Wizards as well, but he brought him a championship. Plus, he played there a long time. Now, they're trying to get Ray Allen to get his jersey retired. He's begging and begging and begging to get his jersey retired. He played there, 3 seasons? And then he went to the arch rival. Do you think he should win? He should have his jersey retired? I don't think he should. Almost for the same reason of Kevin Garnett. I just don't think he was there long enough to have made a huge dent in the time he spent there. Bill Russell, understand. Larry Bird, understand. Kevin McHale, Dave Cowens, those type of, I get it. Totally get it. I'm not so sure about Kevin Garnett. Ray Allen, definitely. But I think they're going to bend and break eventually because he was a huge deal for them getting that championship with the Big Three. Some people say that was the start of the Big Three era, as far as people going from one team to another to form the Big Three. But I don't think all those Big Three, the 2 out of 3, I don't think deserve to have their jersey retired there. Kevin Garnett in Minnesota, holla at him. Have his jersey retired there. I just think that's my standards. But I'm willing to bend a little bit for the reasons people give for Derrick Rose. Again, he was born in Chicago, raised in Chicago, got to play for the team for the city he grew up in. He brought him back from the basement, the Jordan curse that people say was on Chicago for the team being broken up in '98. He brought him back and brought them back to prominence. Battled LeBron a couple times. Never could beat LeBron though. And in one foul swoop, it was over. The prime was over. He never got back to all-star status. Nowhere near it. Got traded several times. And I felt for the guy too. I mean, the guy kept pushing. He didn't stop, despite all the setbacks. He kept having, knee kept going out. People making jokes about him, calling him Mr. Glass. People were treating him like they treat Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard now, calling them Mr. Glass. They were calling Derrick Rose that. But Derrick Rose, to his credit, he never gave up. He kept coming back. He could have ended his career very early, enjoyed his millions, and said, forget y'all. I got what I came to do. So again, I lean a little bit left to giving Derrick Rose his jersey in the Raptors. Until I started hearing the arguments War 4, I wasn't going with that. But now I'm a little bit more in favor of him. I'm about 60-40 for him to get his jersey retired. But everybody can't have the same standards as Boston, the Lakers, the Yankees, the Patriots, the teams I just named. Everybody's not going to have them standards. There's going to be teams that are going to win one championship, and that's going to be it for the next 100 years. And they're never going to catch up with the Lakers, never going to catch up with the Celtics. Hell, some people never gonna catch up with the Bulls in championships. They've never won a championship afterwards. All the championships they have were from the 90s, from Jordan. So maybe the curse is real. But if you agree or disagree, let me know. Do you think Derrick Rose deserves to have his jersey retired in Chicago? That's the end of this show. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Go out there and be kind. And come back here and enjoy the Last Rewind. Peace.